Right now, but these women still come and see me periodically because to me hypnosis is like going to a massage therapist. How come people can go to a massage therapist once a month and they can't come and see a hypnotist once a month? What is that about? Why is it that your clients don't come and see you regularly? And I don't stand here to judge anybody, but I have values that say how foolish some hypnotists are when they say, well, I hypnotize people to quit smoking in one session. How foolish you are. You could probably double your income if you saw them twice. How inappropriate you are by thinking that because you never saw them again, so how do you know they didn't go back to smoking? I used to smoke heavy. I quit once with hypnosis for 4 years. 4 years. Went through a lot of trauma. Somebody handed me a cigarette like I'd never quit and I was back to smoking. So did the hypnosis fail? Did it not succeed? Last year I did a presentation on smoking. I'm not here for that reason now, but that was part of the issues. And Roy brought up the issue that I gave everybody a booklet on smoking cessation. And I think I list 49 different kinds of smokers in there. I have a lot of them, by the way, that I'm not going to give you the hard copies because as we spoke earlier, Roy, last year I gave everybody one of these booklets on smoking. I gave them one on pre-talk. These are about 40, 50 pages long. Anita here, she designs these covers for me. We have one here on regression, that's really a good one. Also about 50 pages long. And then I have one on the pre-talk. So if you want those, just go to larrygarrett.com and I'll send it to you, okay? I've got many of them. I've got probably about 200 articles. I've written 3 books. We're just finishing a 3rd book, and Anita's working with that on me. It's called The Way of the Superior Hypnotist. And I think that'll cover some areas that maybe I could share with you. Again, I share this. This is my 48th year in hypnosis. I still feel like I'm going to keep going. I don't think I'll ever stop. A couple of people asked me if I'm going to retire. I don't know what that would be. I think if I retired, what do you say retiring is, Carm?
I was just tired again.
Tired again, yeah, tired again. So, and by the way, I said to you how I started. I take no medications. I'm not a jock. I don't work out regularly. I have no physical pains. I contributed to hypnosis. So I am saying to you, as a hypnotist, it's not about your client. It's about you to be who you want your client to learn from you. If you walk the talk, you'll never be out of business. When I look at my client and I sit there and I communicate with them, I look into their soul. I see who they are inside, and I let them see who I am. I choose not to say anything that's not appropriate to both of us. I choose to only give them the greatest of value. I have not lacked a full day of clients in probably 30 years. I've never advertised. I never say to anybody, oh, you should come and see me. Never tell anybody because I would never make it. Right now we're booked till the end of June, and that's only because I cut my days down a little bit, my schedule down a little bit, just because I want to have more fun. I do have fun with hypnosis, but I mean I don't want to always be sitting in that office. And I think that this is because each person that sits with me is the only person in the whole world. That's all. As you sit here and I'm looking around at all of you, and if we meet out in that hall, or we meet at lunchtime, or we meet sometime between classes, I might not remember your name from last year because it's been a year since we spoke. I'm going to know Selena, though. I know Selena here. I bet we all have known Selena. Boy, she done some marketing or what?
Yes.
She's done some marketing. But I will get to know all of you as you wish, because that's my journey. My journey is to know as many people as I can, to teach as many people as I can, to feel better, to be successful. Because hypnosis to me is a career. To me, it's no different than the chiropractors are to their profession, than the physicians are to their professions. Why is it that we, as hypnotists, don't have that same confidence that they have? Why is it that we don't promote ourselves in a professional manner? And it's not because of the kind of hypnosis we do. That's irrelevant. When I started hypnosis, I started with stage hypnosis. My first gig of getting paid was a stage hypnosis routine. I remember my first instructor, Fred Chavo. By the way, how Carm and I met, he's smiling right there because he remembers. Carm was sent to spy on me because the group that I was involved in didn't want me to be in their organization. I remember being in a group like this and they said, we're going to take a vote today on whether or not we're going to let Larry Garrett stay in this group. What? What? I had to tell you, I was a very insecure person. And I remember phrases well. Fred Shallow said to me one day, you know, with your attitude, Larry, you'll never make it in hypnosis. I didn't even know what the word meant. I didn't even know what an attitude was. All I knew is that I had to fix it so I could make it. So, you know, Carmen and I have been friends for over 40 years now, and he was sent over to spy on me to see what I was doing. Why was that, Carmen?
So you're doing stage hypnosis and putting people between chairs.
Yeah.
And they were
Terrible stuff. I was doing stage hypnosis. I hear last night you had a stage hypnotist. I was doing more than putting people between two chairs. I think he was putting the people on the chairs, wasn't he, or something? So yes, I was criticized because I couldn't stop. There was this adrenaline in me, like I felt from Scott. You know, it's I got to move. I can't stop. I've got to do stuff here. I've got places to go. And so I remember I went to a club, and there was a stage hypnotist there, John Lautrec. He's long gone. And John Lautrec was doing a show, and I asked the bouncer, I says, how much does he get paid? This is about 1971 or so, 70. And he said, he's getting $60 for this. $60? I don't know how many of you have been around what the salaries were in 1970. Yeah, I see some heads back there shaking. It wasn't very much. I think I was probably making $8 an hour, and that was good. And $60 sounded like a week's pay, a day's pay. And I could do that. So I started going to clubs, and I'd stop and I'd say, I'm a professional hypnotist and I could do a show. And my first club that I got to was a place called Lucifer's Den in Chicago. Nice name. And it was the seediest place you could ever be. But I got hired. The guy says, well, if you could hypnotize me, you've got the job. And he was a big moosey guy. His name was Rocky. And he said, you can't hypnotize me. You like the name. And so, as Carm just said, you know, I had crazy routines. I didn't know any better. I was so naive then, I thought I could hypnotize anybody, do anything, anytime. And so we hypnotized him, and I put him across two chairs, and he was big. He probably was weighed 250, 280 pounds. And so his crew helped me and picked him up, put him across two chairs. We took a picture of the Polaroid. After he was finished, he opens his eyes, says, see, I told you you couldn't hypnotize me. So we showed him the picture, I got the job. So I was there for 21 weeks. $25 a show, 2 shows for $35. What do you think of that, William? $25 a show, 2 shows for $35. 21 weeks. But that started my my direction. If you could hypnotize those drunks, you could hypnotize anybody. And if I were doing one of your sections today, William, on stage hypnosis, William and I have done classes together on stage hypnosis, and that was a great honor. And as you said, well, I usually don't pair myself with anybody. I usually want to do it alone, not because I'm so great, but because I don't want anybody interrupting me. I don't want anybody contradicting or me contradicting them. I am who I am. But William and I did well together, didn't we, William? We did. We spent good time. So the idea was I did that for 21 weeks, and that started me. At that time, I want to share with all of you stage hypnotists, there were only 3 stage hypnotists in the country doing schools. Myself, James Mapes, who's still around, and Gil Egos. And I just was looking up Gil Egos the other day on Google. And Gil Egos was doing a mentalist routine. And we would cross paths, and we'd see each other occasionally, but I did about 30 states, about 400 schools. And then after a while, and I know all of you stage hypnotists like that idea, but the real issue is my armpits began to sweat a little bit too much. I remember many times I'd wear these silk shirts and they'd be soaked all inside here, and I said, oh my God, I look terrible. So the anxiety gets the best of you. Even if you're the best stage hypnotist in the world, you are exhausted after an hour or two. No wonder you're making $2,000 or $3,000 for an hour. Because the adrenaline goes, right? Right, okay. Is it Cheddar?
Truett.
Say it, Truett. Sorry, Truett. Okay. Am I saying it right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So Truett's saying, yeah, you're right. So I was doing both. I was doing some office work as well. So one day I'm sitting there at my desk and I'm saying, I think I want to do something different. That was 1989, the last time I did a stage show. But I miss it sometime, but it's not my style anymore. It's not what I want to do anymore, but I've done it. And I often share with people, this is about the topic that William chose out, my experiences in hypnosis over the years. I was somehow fortunate or tenacious in some way that I was always finding an opportunity to do hypnosis. So at the same time I'm doing the stage hypnosis, by the way, I didn't make as much as you people did then. If I get $25 a show, you can imagine probably what I was getting was not as much. But it was okay, and I was excited, because if you learn stage hypnosis, you can do anything. If you could hypnotize somebody to forget their name? Can you hypnotize them to forget their anxiety? Ah, that's an interesting thought. I was fortunate at that time. I was doing a lot of radio and TV shows, and I might share with you how I started that. At that time we had no computers. I typed up a letter, left it blank on top. I had 500 printed. I remember I went to Sir Speedy and I had 500 of these letters that said, "I'm sure your media audience would like what I have to say." And I sent out 500 letters, and I would just type the name on top, you know, John Smith, and some of you from Chicago might remember a guy named Bob Collins. And Bob Collins was on WGN Radio. I remember well what he did for me. And he called me up, asked me if he could come over and be hypnotized. I said, sure. And I remember him well. He said, he was in the process of starting hypnosis. He says, Larry? And I said, yeah. He said, should I be nervous? I said, of course. So, okay, let's do it. And so Bob Collins was there, and he quit smoking. And he had great listenership, one of the biggest in Chicago. And he said, I was hypnotized. Oh, no, he didn't say I was hypnotized. He says, I quit smoking yesterday, and when I haven't smoked for 3 weeks, I will let you know how I quit smoking. And every day on his program, he'd say, well, it's been 3 days since I've smoked. It's been a week since I've smoked. It's been 14 days since I smoked. And on the 3rd week, he had me on his program, and for over 20 years, my phone kept ringing with the anticipation he created. That anticipation, of course, was a good fortune for me, but I'm not sharing that just to brag to you of good fortunes for me, but I'm going to say I've never stopped. I worked with the University of Illinois Hospital, University of Chicago Hospital in Chicago, with amputees for 2 years. That was a great experience to learn how to work with phantom pain. I worked with Dr. Godboldi at Ravenswood Hospital for about a year with multiple personalities. Another great experience of what hypnosis can do. By the way, this is all in the 70s and 80s into the 90s. Because today I don't, it's not like I need to drum up this business. I'm hoping that those of you sitting here are hearing my words to say, if you want to be successful, you need to get off your butt and get out there and tell them who you are. I think back also about some of the experiences I've had. I worked with a lot of the, as we were speaking yesterday, if you're not from Chicago, I say the Chicago area police departments for about 5 years, working with different people. I've worked with murderers and rapists. I remember one murderer who was a very famous case in Chicago about 1983, and he had shot somebody with 32 witnesses. And he threw the gun down and ran out and didn't remember shooting this person. I don't have time to tell you all the stories, but I'll tell you later. Later on this afternoon, I'm going to do 2 hours on case histories, and I'll share some of those. And I'm sharing right now how I've moved through a life of hypnosis to the moment I am right now. To the ability that I think we all have to see as many clients as you choose. Is that what you wish? Do you wish to do hypnosis shows? And then I look and see today's stage hypnotist population is incredible. Remember, there was only 3 hypnotists when I did hypnosis and stage. But as we think about those 3 hypnotists, hypnosis wasn't so accepted. When I would go to a school, I'd make a deal with them. If I could get in front of your psychology class and lecture to your group, I'll do a show as well. And that's how I would get into some of these schools, because hypnosis was taboo. My first office in Chicago was in a small storefront. That's when I met Carm. And we had just like a store window, you know, it was a little back room. We did classes in groups, and I had a little office. I did hypnosis. And 3 different times the neighbors called the city on me for doing witchcraft. As humorous as that sounds, how valid it was for the early 70s. How difficult it was to attempt to start a profession in hypnosis. I mentioned about sending out these letters to these TV crews and radios and things and newspapers, and I received so much response from this because one is hypnosis was new. It's not a big deal as much as it is today. It's not as serious as it is today, but the media still wants to know who you are. And many of you have done media work, and that's good. You get somebody on a program, and all of a sudden your phone starts ringing. So on one of these programs, I met this physician from Rockford, Illinois. And we were 3 people talking about hypnosis on a Chicago TV station. There were 2 physicians and myself. I was a stage hypnotist. That's all I did at the time. The other physician was a physician who did medical hypnosis. And the other physician was a physician who was totally anti-hypnosis. So that stuff doesn't work, it's dangerous, you can't use it. Of course, I knew what I knew, and the medical physician next to me who did hypnosis, medically speaking, he knew what he knew. So after the program was over, myself and the medical hypnotist became buddies. Because on this program we were being beat up by this one guy who was telling us hypnosis is no good, and we're saying yes it is and it works. And so we became friends, and for 6 years I worked alongside of him. He eventually moved into my office, and what a great gift that was, because he was a brilliant, brilliant person for his time in doing medical hypnosis. He trained me in the techniques that William mentioned earlier of electronic hypnosis. We don't have all the time to discuss that right now, but I'm always open. All you need to do, if you're in Chicago, come and visit me. But electronic hypnosis, the first time I saw it, I was totally turned off. How could you hypnotize somebody wearing headphones, with microphones, with recordings? You can't do it. It's terrible. It'd be sacrilegious. Excuse me, Father. And it'd be sacrilegious. And I felt this